Charles Talbot, come forward.
Curses, legends and phantoms await us as we venture to Staffordshire.
Who's that?
This week, my team will endeavour to peel back the fun facade of Britain's #1 tourist attraction to see if there's a darker side to this famous place. Welcome to Most Haunted and Alton Towers.
The fortress of Colred, the young king of Mercia, originally occupied this site. He only ruled for 7 short years until insanity overtook him, and many believed that he and the ground on which the fortress stood had been cursed. The land then passed through several owners until the 1400s, when the Earls of Shrewsbury took possession, and it eventually became their summer residence. Charles, the 15th Earl, took a great interest in the property and its grounds, and began a major rebuilding scheme, and by the time of his death in 1832, he had created an outstanding example of Gothic architecture. However, the notion of the curse had continued, and the atmosphere of the towers is certainly menacing, with many varied reports of a myriad of spirits, some merely wisps of the imagination, but others threatening and forthright in their brushes with the unwary.
With such a varied history and so many ghosts, who would be mad enough to spend the night here completely on their own and in the dark? Well, that's exactly what Kieran and myself did, and this is what happened.
Here we are, Kieran and myself. We're here in the towers. Really scary place, isn't it?
Towers. It is. Yeah. Yeah. But it's just a derelict place.
If there's anybody here in this room, please can you make a noise? Deadly quiet. My camera's just not picking anything up, it's that dark.
No.
Did you hear that? It's back out there. Did you hear that? It's back out there. There's movement out here.
That was a door. I can't describe it any other way. Oh, shit. That was loud. That was really loud. And that was upstairs.
Already the oppressive atmosphere of the towers had intrigued Kieran, and I certainly wasn't in the mood to investigate the source of the noises from the upper floors. So Kieran, being a gentleman, decided that discretion was the better part of valour, and that we would have safety in numbers the following night when we returned.
On a dark, windy night in 1821, the Earl of Shrewsbury was returning to his palatial home, Alton Towers, when suddenly a haggard old woman appeared in the road. The coach abruptly stopped, narrowly missing her. The Earl demanded to know why she was there, whereupon the old woman fell to her knees begging the angry Earl for money. The Earl, outraged by having his journey prolonged, abruptly pushed her aside, whereupon the disgruntled old woman placed a curse on him. She said, "For every branch on the old oak tree that falls to the ground, a member of your family shall die." The Earl dismissed this, remounted his carriage and continued on his way. But later that night, a violent storm raged across the Earl's land, and a single branch from the old oak tree broke and fell. Later that very same night, a member of the Earl's family suddenly and mysteriously died. Now firmly believing the old woman's curse, the Earl ordered his servants to chain every branch to the tree, preventing them from falling in a vain attempt to stop any more deaths. To this day, The oak remains chained up.
While I've been at Alton Towers, I've seen ghosts, I've heard about ghosts, I've heard ghosts, and I've also felt things as if there's a ghost present. It's surprising, people think when they come to Alton Towers it's just for the rides and see the gardens, but really, if you come at night, it's a different experience.
This ride is called Hex, and it famously documents the legend of the chained oak. It is said to be the home of some particularly terrifying poltergeist activity. Objects have been known to violently hurl themselves around this whole area. And many people queuing for the ride reported seeing ghostly children playing and being attacked by stones thrown from an unseen force. The presence of a large man has been witnessed in and around the music room. His footsteps have been heard thundering along these corridors. More heavy footsteps have been heard in the banqueting hall, but these are accompanied by a dark phantom. Poltergeist activity has also been reported many times throughout the whole of the building. Visitors and staff alike complain about having small stones and objects thrown at them by a mischievous entity.
The most recent incident was last Saturday. I was working doing a ghost night in the chapel. I was quite early, so the guys who were helping me that night hadn't turned up yet. Lights hadn't come on yet because it take a few minutes to warm up. I was lighting the candles, waiting for them, and I heard footsteps. I carried on working, just looking back, seeing if there's anything there. There was nothing. Did a few more candles, and I heard the steps again. As I walked out to the chapel, I turned to the left, and there's an archway. At the top of the archway, there's a shadow. I don't know what it was.
A lady in a long black dress has been seen many times wandering the corridors of the towers. Some have witnessed the smell of strong perfume. This phantom is so vivid that one employee even approached her, believing that she was a guest, and asked her to leave, whereupon she slowly faded away.
With our previous night's experience in my mind, I asked Kieran O'Keefe his thoughts on our coming investigation.
Well, here we are, Kieran. I am so excited. This, for us, is a first, to actually come to Alton Towers, have the whole run of the place, spend the night. But it's really eerie, seeing all the rides just in the dark, and there's no screaming, there's no crowds, there's nothing. It's just us.
It is. We're so privileged to be allowed to be here and, like you say, have the free reign of the place. But there's such a contrast between the building where we're standing now, the actual towers, and the rest of the tourist attraction. It's really just that contrast for me is quite eerie in itself.
Now, there's a lot of stories here. There's an awful lot of activity that has been reported by people that come to go on the rides. They've been pelted with stones while they've been queuing to go on this particular ride, which is called Hex. What do you think to that?
Well, I think it's very strange. Initially, when we were coming here, I thought we're going to be dealing with phenomena that's associated with the history of the place, what was here before. But you're right, they've actually built a ride into an old castle, in essence. So even though in the past poltergeist activity was reported, we've still got remnants of it with the modern day public coming to the rides. And I find that fantastic, because I would hope that when people come here for the rides, they're not aware of the haunted part of it. The number of people that I've said to them, I'm coming to Alton Towers to investigate a haunting, they say, well, it's not haunted, is it? And that, for me, I find fascinating. The other thing about this location is the immense level of suggestion that we're dealing with. You're in a tourist attraction, so the rides we can just ignore. But because of that contrast, when you look at the towers from the outside, it's your archetypal spooky castle. And that, combined with the fact that part of the building has been converted into Hex, a ride where they put up various decorations to try and evoke the atmosphere of somewhere spooky, all of this is going to play with suggestion. It's going to play with the minds of the team this evening.
The time had come for David Wells to begin his initial contemplation of the ambience of the intimidating Alton Towers.
Are we in any danger in this building? I just need to tell whoever this is that I'm not a witch, because he's screaming at me, witch, witch, witch. There's a kind of that, just eyes. That's quite aggressive when they just show their eyes.
Oh! Oh! That was right by me.
David began his initial reading in what had once been the magnificent chapel of the Towers.
That is amazing. Look at that ceiling.
It is extraordinary.
And the window. But more importantly, who's here?
There's no names, there's no sense of presence here. I come fighting to find an individual attached specifically to this place.
Right.
But there is a wafting, there's a female wandering around, and I don't think she's particularly attached to here, but she looks to me as if she looks after the whole thing. She's very authoritative.
When you are picking up on this female, can you see what she looks like?
She's like a governess kind of figure. She has a gown on, a very serious looking gown on, a very serious pull. Sort of black gown with a white ruff here. There's like a white collar thing here. It's very tight, very, nipped in at the waist, but, big at the back, really.
Okay. Time period?
Probably about 1800s. She's very about that time. She's very commanding. Takes complete charge of the place by the looks of it.
What time period would you say that this church would date back to?
Probably about the same period. It feels as if there's something else underneath it. It feels like maybe even there is a sense in this area, and this is a general thing in this area of life being here for a long, long time. Mm-hmm. Therefore, there would have been throughout the ages there would have been some kind of worship, or whether it was pagan or whatever it was. But it feels to me that there's like it's been built and built. Do you know what I mean? Built on top of something. It feels like that to me.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of scurrying about in here. Lots of to and fro. Mm-hmm. I can hear lots of titter and stupidness. So I'm hearing a lot of tittering and stupidness. When people work together, there's a lot of we never did, and all that kind of buzzing around, people running around all over the place, particularly in domestic service, where there's you'll never guess what she's wearing this week,
So when you talk about whisper, just whisper talking.
So I have a sense of
Wow, that's loud.
Everybody stand still.
Is there anyone there? Could you make a sound? If there's a female here. Could you knock twice for us, just to confirm that you're here? Okay. Did you used to look after this building? Are we in any danger in this building? Was that two?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Ask her to knock out how many spirits are here.
Could you knock out for us, just tap how many of you are here, how many spirits are here?
Eleven.
11?
11.
Okay. Great.
Ask how many are with us now in this room.
Can you please tell me how many are with us in this room now then? Three.
Three.
Okay.
Three.
Okay.
All right. So, who in your opinion, is making these knocking sounds? So far, we've only got this woman, and I know it's really difficult, but who else can you pick up on?
The only other thing I've got is 2 children. There's 2 kids with her. And her, I've got 3. I've got her and 2 children.
Okay.
And it's 2 little girls.
Right.
Who are very silent, very quiet little things.
Do you know what they died from?
No. Not yet, no. There's a name. Now, I don't know if this is... Now I've seen 2 little girls. No, it's the housekeeper's name are the 2 kids.
That's good.
It's a double name. It's Elizabeth Ann.
That's good, that's right.
Is that your name? Is it Elizabeth Ann? Her surname begins with D and I can't quite get it.
I am going to get so lost when all the lights are turned off.
Isn't it?
I think there are bats in here.
Oh, yeah.
You can hear the birds as well.
Yeah,
Because of course there's no glass in the windows, which is why it's so cold.
This is I want to take your hand. I want you to take my hand and do this here.
Oh, really?
I feel very kind of. We're going again, so we're leaving here.
We're leaving.
Yeah, this is very processional. It's a very kind of like very grand way to go straight through there and into a carriage.
Oh, right. So straight through here.
Yeah, straight through there, towards, I don't know where that goes, but straight out and then into carriages.
Right. Okay.
I feel like there's a huge line of people.
Dating back to when?
Probably, again, late 17, early 1800s, perhaps.
Which is very interesting, considering what would have been the original plans of this building, if I can say.
Yes.
And that would have been the front entrance, and people would have come in through there, and you can see kind of a passageway beyond that door. We can't get through there, but you can see people coming through
That's
there.
amazing.
Makes
That's brilliant.
sense.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's this huge line of people in all their finery and servants and, you know...
What are you picturing, a wedding or just a procession?
Just a dinner, a grand dinner. I think there would have been a lot of pomp and circumstance, and that's always, I guess, in a house like this.
Family names. I know there would have been an awful lot of families throughout here, but are there a couple of names that come to mind, or or not?
There is one name that comes to mind, which is Talbot. But, you know...
It's just got a knock behind you when you said that name. Very faint. So you're picking up on that family name and associated with this procession?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, okay.
I'm just pausing because I'm slightly concerned. There's a kind of who did a claw moment there.
Oh, fabulous.
There's a
like
kind of,
those.
there's a kind of that, just eyes being shown and a hand across, which is quite aggressive when they just show their eyes.
Right. Male, female?
Male, definitely male, and there's just those, and they're very dark eyes.
Meaning, not when we asked earlier on, and we said, are we in any danger? 2 knocks came back for yes, and they were very clear. Could this be what they were talking about?
Possibly,
this entity?
yeah. I can't get past the block. There's like a real block, and just those eyes looking.
Okay.
Nice.
So we're in for a bit of an interesting evening then, do you think?
You make contact with this one, yeah.
What do you think, activity-wise, we might get? Because we've already had the rappings and knockings. Do you think we're going to get anything else, especially in the séance?
I think there might be objects thrown at us, and I think this one seems aggressive, as a bit of a shover.
Okay.
So we might feel pushed.
Pushed. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to move on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to reassure you also, there are no bats inside.
Fantastic. Have you had your bat monitor out?
My bat detector.
I love it when you tell me that. That's good.
We switched to night vision and began our investigation with the visitor holding area for the famous Hex attraction, originally the armoury and picture galleries of the towers.
A sort of similar feeling to that. It's very processional, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
that might be the length of the corridor. It feels very processional.
But what about activity? What about presence here?
There is I'm just picking up on sort of little words here and there. And the first word I get is invasion. It's kind of like it's an invasion.
Oh.
Can you imagine if this was yours, and if you were haunting it, and then there's hundreds and hundreds of people going, oh, well, anyway, Trace, did you see it last night? Can you imagine how you would feel?
Well, you would. You would hate it.
You would
wouldn't like it at all.
So, did you hear that?
Yeah.
I had like,
Oh,
sorry.
something's thrown at you. I heard that. Oh, there you go.
Stone. Great.
I have to say that one of the Kieran will back me up here. The phenomena that's seen and witnessed here while people are queuing up is stone throwing.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Yes,
Doesn't
definitely.
surprise me.
Both as it is now and also previously. But I don't want to say too much about what it was before. It was a ride.
There's a Bolshi male around these parts somewhere, and he's not making himself known
Is
just
this the
yet.
one that was covering his
Yeah,
face?
I'm
Right.
convinced it is. I think he's Bolshi because of this invasion of space. He's clearly a former resident.
Okay. Okay.
Can I just need to respond to this. I just need to tell whoever this is that I'm not a witch.
Oh.
Because he's screaming at me, witch. Maybe because of what I do and not understanding what I do. And I'm not that there's anything wrong with that. And I have to say that there's nothing wrong with Wicca, witchcraft, whatever. But that's not
What you do.
what I do. No, I'm not a witch. So I'm not a witch.
And you've got this great big pillar in the middle.
Yeah. Sorry.
So it's sort of circular,
Yeah.
as it were. What do you think this would have been used as, or?
But it feels very processional, and I wouldn't be surprised if people come up and actually went round the pillar to give it even more gravitas, and sort of came round and went this way into the house. It feels like there's that grandness, that show-off thing of it.
Oh, right, okay. And they would have gone up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does that make sense with you, Kieran?
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
Right.
we can verify the way the original building would have been is yes. The main entrance they would have come through here and gone through there, and the other side of that is the long gallery, where earlier on David's lit walk around, he said he felt as though they were coming through, and this is where they would have come through.
That's
And he
fantastic.
pointed that out.
That's lovely when it all pieces together. Kathy, all right?
Yeah, just a bit nervous.
Listen to that. Listen.
Oh,
What?
I don't know if I can repeat the word I just heard.
Say it. What?
Oh, someone just called me a. I'm really sorry, but that's exactly I had in my ear. I've never in my life had that before. I've never had that in my life before.
This is from this man.
I think it was. It sounded like a male energy.
Can you place him in terms of the time period?
It's probably late 17th, early 18th century.
Yeah, because-
1800s.
It is a word that would have been used even then.
Right.
People think it's a recent swear, but it's not.
If you are here, if this man is here, if you've just sworn at David, let yourself be known. If it was you who threw the stone, can you do it again? Oh. Blimey, that came right close.
Did anybody get that on their camera?
It's right there. You got it in your hand. You're all right. You're all right. Oh, that was right by me. That was right by me, and that was.
It wasn't small.
I moved my arm because I thought something had just grabbed my back arm. I literally went like that.
That was right
wasn't
by
small,
me.
was
That was big.
Is it there?
No.
Literally like something brushed right
Could have been
past.
anything.
Really?
Yeah.
What did it touch you? What like a quick?
It was almost like I'm in the way. You know, when
Oh,
if
really?
you're in the way
Yeah.
and someone does not like it's almost
Oh, push.
like that, and it just felt really awkward. So I moved, and then that happened.
But you said that, David, didn't you? This man is a pusher. You said that.
He is a pusher.
Yeah, but where's that stone? That felt like a really big bang on the floor. I can't see it.
I think his name might be Charles. I'm not sure if it's a Charles.
Seen it? So you're saying Charles, member of the Talbot family,
Yeah.
maybe? He is. Yes.
Yeah. This is the worst room in the
Is he here in this? Is he here now?
Yeah, he's moving around in the shadows. If you don't want us here, then show yourself Believe me, we'll probably leave.
Are you angry? You all right, Carl? You get pushed again?
Yeah. Not as violently as before, but it was...
Do you think this would be a good place to do a séance? In this space?
In a kind of don't go into the cellar kind of way, yes.
Okay. Well, that's what we want. We want activity, don't we?
Following our initial contact with the spirit of Charles Talbot, we prepared ourselves for further unpleasant activity.
Well, nothing awful could have happened.
I just heard Stuart shouting.
Oh, shit!
Continuing our investigations of Alton Towers, we did not have long to wait for more spectral occurrences.
Please give us a sign.
Touch me. Ow! Something's just been thrown at me. Oh, shit! What the f***'s that? Yvette!
We set up for a séance and immediately attempted to invoke the spirit of Charles Talbot.
Charles Talbot, if you're here, come forward.
I know it's cold in here, but I've just had a really cold breeze right across both my hands. Coming from Kath's direction towards Yvette.
He's around the table. He's definitely around the table. Come on. Move the table.
I know you see thousands of people, living people, coming into your home. What was that?
Yeah, I just heard that.
It was, wasn't it?
Definitely was.
At the same time, I thought I saw a light right by David to shoot upwards.
I know you see thousands of people, living people, coming into your home. What was that? Charles Talbot, is that you? Please give us a sign.
But there is no one in that room, is there? Behind Stuart.
Is the door closed? Door's open. Don't want to go and look now.
Yeah, it's just that I'm kind of almost seeing.
I know, because you've had your head pointed around looking at the door.
It's like move. I know it's dark, but it's like shadow movement in the dark.
Who's here, David?
Well, that one male is definitely here. And there's one character just behind him. I can't quite get a fix on. It doesn't seem quite sane.
Oh, great.
But not, he seems over the top in laughing and cackling and unusual.
Oh, who was that?
That was right behind Stuart.
That was a real clear footstep.
Unusual.
Oh.
I mean, I'm the only concern I have is that the astral who's here is strong and isn't doing anything, and that's always a
worry.
A worry.
This is Charles.
Is that because they could be waiting for later, or
Just waiting. It's just like a build thing, you know. They build to rather than tap tables and they build to one big event, you know.
Despite the close proximity of various energies and the drop in temperature, the séance left us eager for more substantial evidence, so we moved our hunt for further activity to the banqueting hall of the towers.
So who's here? Is there anybody here?
There's people in the building, but there's no one specifically with us at the moment, and that's what scares me.
If there's somebody here, if there are any astral beings, any spirit people that want to talk to us, we're here. Please give us a sign. Let us know that you're with us.
What's up?
I've just seen a white light come all the way down like this.
From upstairs.
How weird, yeah. It floated down. Could have been a feather, could it? Well, we still see it falling, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been a light.
Let's go in. You all right?
Someone
What's
just
the matter?
jabbed my eye.
Jabbed your eye?
Yeah, my left eye just got something thrown in it.
You all right?
Yeah, that's an old astral witch's trick. You've done that to me before. Put stuff in my eye.
Who's done that?
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, if someone pokes you in the eye, get your attention, isn't it, really? What is that constant hum?
This is electric. Oh,
Is that somebody moving about?
no, it's footsteps or tapping. Ooh. Is there anybody here? Keep still. Is there anybody here? Any astral beings, any spirit people that want to talk to us?
I can't hear properly. I can't hear this one properly at all. I know it's not pleasant whatever he's saying, but
It's a knocking again. Sounds like it's coming from behind you, Carl.
Though we heard footsteps and David was convinced that many spirits were close by, in spite of our efforts, there remained elusive shadows. In an attempt to provoke more substantial phenomena, Carl and Stuart stayed alone in the vast darkness of the towers, whilst the rest of the team took a respite. Carl went to explore the upper floors, leaving Stuart some distance away in the banqueting hall.
Is there anybody in this, I think it's a banquet room. Is there anyone in this room with me now? If you are, can you... Oh, I can't believe I'm doing this. Can you, you show us a sign? Light anomalies. Touch me. Ow!
I just heard Stuart shouting. We've only just restarted this.
Hello? Something's just been thrown at me. Hello? Stu, stay calm. Stay calm, mate, stay calm.
Stuart's downstairs. And I've come as far as I can be, but I'm sure I heard him scream. You right, Stu?
The trouble is now, I don't want to go any further now because I don't know what the hell's going to happen. The door's just closed.
Like this. Is anyone here? Focus on anything.
Can't see anything. Wait! Who's that? Hello? I've just heard, I don't know what the hell it was I've just heard, I don't know, is it another door or something? I'm not too sure what the hell it is. I don't know where it came from neither. The trouble is with this place, it's too big and I'm cracking up.
Hello?
weird being completely empty. Shit, I thought I saw something at the door then. Hello? Hello? There are times you actually want to be with Stuart. Or certainly not on your own. Is anyone here? Oh, shit!
Unsettled by his own lonely vigil, Stuart was unaware of the ghostly assault on Carl. What further mayhem would occur before the night ended?
I shouted him. I did everything I could, and I couldn't f***ing find him. What the f***'s that? Yvette!
Unaware of Carl's predicament, Stuart drew his lone vigil to a close and decided to rejoin the team.
I'm going now to the spirits that are in here. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for not harming me. I know that was you playing silly tricks, closing the door. Well, thank you. I'm just very grateful that you didn't do anything else that could have harmed me. Hey! I'm just very grateful that you didn't do anything else that could have harmed me. Hey! I'm going to go back to the crew room now. I'm going to get hold of Carl, wherever he is. I'm going to get Yvette. I'm going to have a chat with Carl first, and I'm going to tell him, look, if anyone's coming back here, you're going to have to come back here, Mob-handed, because this isn't a place you want to come on your own, for a number of reasons.
Stuart became concerned when he realised that Carl was not with the team, and we immediately began a search for his whereabouts.
Well, nothing awful could have happened.
Well, I shouted him. I did everything I could, and I couldn't f***ing find him. So...
He's maybe just gone off into another area.
Well, I came back to the car thinking he was here, and he wasn't, but the keys...
Oh, shut the window.
...were in the ignition, so... I don't know, I mean, he could be walking back for all I know, I'm not sure. Carl! He said he was going on the other side. I went to the other side, couldn't see him. Which is this away. Go and have a look. I know. Yeah, but I was calling him before and I got nothing. I mean, if you was on the other side, you'd hear me calling, wouldn't you?
Carl!
Ask Kieran, does this go further on this, or has he been round here? The f*** that? Yvette! Cal! Mate? Cal? Cal, come here. Yvette, he's got a cut on his head. What's going on, mate?
Get him up and out. Get him up and out.
Hold that a second. I'll go get that.
Right, yeah, hang on, somebody. Hold that. Let's just get him out.
Come here, get up.
Kieran, hold Carl out.
Just got him up against the wall. You got your torch, Kieran? Just cut his head in.
Let's just get him out and then we'll look at him.
Did you what?
He's going to have to. Come on.
Kieran, get the other arm away. We've been looking everywhere for you, mate. Out. We've been looking everywhere for you, mate.
After after the dramatic discovery of a very disorientated Carl, we agreed that our investigations of Alton Towers should end for this occasion. In the cold light of the following day, I asked Dr. Kieran O'Keefe to give his opinions on what had occurred during the previous evening.
During the investigation, the team experienced a number of different phenomena. On a walk around with David, there was actually some stone throwing. Now, the difficulty is that this occurred in the octagon area of the Hex ride. Now, with the number of people that were involved in the walk around, it was difficult to tell whether the stone was actually thrown or somebody could have knocked it just walking around with their camera, sound, or even one of the presenters. So, for that particular phenomena, I have to be sceptical. What was of significance in that walk around, however, was David Wells' accurate pinpointing of the entrance to the towers. At the moment, if you look at the building, it appears as though an entrance is on another side. However, it's all covered up. David was able to get behind that cover and actually describe in accurate detail how somebody would enter into the towers. So I'm quite impressed with that particular piece of information. The most significant piece of phenomena that happened was on a vigil conducted by Carl and Stuart. At one point, Stuart returned to the crew room in almost a blind panic, unsure as to where Carl was and visibly concerned for his safety. Yvette, David and myself and Stuart returned to the towers and looked for Carl, and we found him slumped in one of the rooms against the wall with the camera on the floor.
Yvette! Carl! Is it... Hey, Carl?
There was a huge mark along Carl's forehead. It appeared as though he had been hit in some way or fallen and hurt his head in some way, but he was visibly distressed, confused, disorientated, didn't know what had happened. Even further questioning later on that evening, we weren't able to get more facts from him as to what had happened. The only clues to what had happened was actually on the tape. You hear Carl actually saying that he thought he might have seen something in a doorway, and the camera turned towards the doorway. And even later on, questioning Carl face to face, he said he does seem to remember seeing a shadow or something in the doorway. Now, whether this is associated with his actual injury is difficult to say.
Hello? Oh, shit!
There are only two possible explanations for his injury. One is that some mysterious supernatural force actually grabbed him, interacted with him, threw him against the wall, if you will, knocked him unconscious for a period of time. The other is that in the heat of the moment, and perhaps having seen something or heard something, Carl turned quickly and may have hit his head against the wall. What we do have is Carl's account. We have the video footage to prove that there's actually nobody else in the room at the time. So for me, that was the most significant and interesting phenomena of the night.
Alton Towers had certainly proved to be active and had left the team with much to think about. Carl is now fully recovered from his brush with the unexplainable and looking forward to our coming investigations. Until next time, sleep tight.
Well, a macabre murder in the middle of America gets reinvestigated tonight with some extraordinary insights from psychic mediums on the case in real life, haunting evidence. It's at 10:30 after we return to the scene of curses, legends and phantoms next. Rather than me, we're back at Alton Towers in just a sec for a Most Haunted Extra.